he wrote a piece in the New York Times that Sunday, December 3rd, is Donald Trump a fascist? And there's been a lot, the word fascist gets thrown around a lot. But this was the first time I read someone who actually defined it. Used the 7 criteria of fascism based on Italian political science and the rise of Mussolini in Italy. So he actually defined fascism, and he said these are the 7 criteria of fascism. A cult of action, a celebration of aggressive masculinity, an intolerance of criticism, a fear of difference, a pitch to the frustrations of the lower middle class, intense nationalism and resentment at national humiliation, and a popular elitism that promises every citizen that they're part of the best people in the world. So that's actually a definition of fascism that he put forward. And then he asked the question, is Donald Trump a fascist? And to my surprise, he said, yeah, kind of, he is. These things apply to the way that Donald Trump is presenting himself as an election figure, a figure running for president. And then there's this very unflattering picture of Trump. We'll skip by that. But then what struck me about this thing that I was reading is that he went on to say, but he has legitimate reasons. Yeah, he's kind of a fascist. Yeah, it kind of aligns with European fascism and these criteria, these 7 criteria. But you know what? He has his reasons. And that's where my head went, what? What are the reasons? Okay, so then he goes on to say that the legitimate reasons that Trump has or that people have for supporting Trump. The deep disaffection with the Republican Party's economic policies, reasonable skepticism about bipartisan consensus around immigration, and an accurate sense that the elite has misgoverned the country. So that idea that a politician could fit some of the criteria of fascism, certainly speaking in coded and not so coded ways about immigration, Mexicans, Muslims, others, but still have a legitimate, reason, where people have legitimate reasons for supporting him. So I was trying to reconcile those two things. I'm trying to understand those two competing or kind of contradictory arguments. So I went through, I read a number of things. I became curious about this, and I read a lot about it over the last few months. And there were a number of different authors and different publications who are trying to get at that same idea of people who are alienated and disaffected and fearful that there's economic stagnation, people are losing jobs, people are losing income, they may be downwardly mobile and economically. And that's what's stirring up this anger. So the number of these authors are trying to approach this issue by understanding where that rage and that anger is coming from. That's one. Here's another one. He talks about it's not just anger over jobs and immigration, it's about the racial hierarchy. We have an African American president. In 30 or so years, we may have a country that's majority people of color and less than 50% white people as the demographic shift. There's a sense that not just that people are suffering economically, that times are changing, that times are hard, globalization, etc., but that there's a shift in the hierarchy socially that's also creating some of that rage. And we heard about it the other day from the man who was speaking about the Klan, right? The intense Klan activity during periods of immigration and periods of hardship. So, and then another one talking about mass incarceration for black people, and school segregation is getting worse. But then he says, support among the white working class is, the white communities are suffering some of the economic pain and economic hardship and issues that black people have suffered historically, right? It's a new experience among hard-hit white communities that are economically, losing jobs and losing opportunity. So I was trying to get at that sense that there's anger, there's frustration, there's certainly racist messages and other messages about that divide people. But is there something going on that we need to be aware of or need to pay attention to as far as people who are experiencing that?